Go ahead and kick this one off. Danny Hall, how we doing, bud?
Outstanding, sir. Glad to be back after almost 3 years.
Yeah, man. We were just talking about that. It's almost like it's pretty close, like 3 years to the day
Yeah,
that our first podcast came out under the old name and everything. So it's
man.
dude, it shit has flown by.
Yeah, time. I mean, it's almost the same neighborhood, even, but nah. I'm still on the west end, and you still hear the trains the same, but a lot has changed in that 3 years, man. It definitely has.
Yeah, man. Well, no need to sugarcoat anything on this one. We're getting into some topics today about your past and
Oh
some of the shit
God,
that you got into. And first and foremost, thank you, man, for doing this, and thank you for being willing to to share some of this.
for sure, man. Like I've said a bunch, and I'll say again, like it helps me to get this shit out, and it's therapy to me. It's not like I'm stepping on the ledge or putting myself out there. I don't want to seem brave to anybody. This is just as much for me as it is for anybody, and it helps to say my story. As embarrassing or as shameful as it may seem to others, it keeps me honest. It keeps me on a certain path. I try to sweep this shit under the rug, then I'm lying, and then I'm faking shit, and I ain't about that anymore, man.
Yeah, man. Well, let's start out with uh where do you think we should start? Like in Arizona, when you started getting into some shit, or what?
It was, yeah, prior, before even. Like, it's no secret that I've kind of been a troublemaker or a troubled person, or my past has been troubled, and it has. I think I was confused on my path, or or right and wrong even were kind of blurred in that time of my life. I was young, 16, 15ish when I ran away,
Yeah.
and I thought I was going to greener pastures, and sure enough, found out my mom had been, unfortunately, a bit big into drugs out there, and it wasn't a better situation. I didn't think, as far as the parenting,
Yeah. Did
but
you
it
did
turned
you
out
know that going out there, or were you just trying to get the fuck out?
I didn't see, because my dad kept that from me as much as he didn't care for my mom at the time, for her leaving and whatnot. Like, he didn't really say that she was doing drugs or this type of person or that. You know what I mean? He was always stoic about shit, so I never knew what he was thinking or feeling, especially about my mom. I just knew she was 2,000 miles away, and he was here, and me and him weren't getting along at the time. And I thought, well, fuck it, I'll go see what's happening with mom. And Arizona sounds nice. Fuck Phoenix, you hear about that all the time, right? Let's check it out. And like I said, the family, the parenting thing is what was a debacle. Other than that, I made great friends while I was out there in school. Mo and Abe, Anthony, God, so many others. Duhan. I wound up living with Mo and Abe, and their mother saw my situation and said, "Hey, come stay with us." And I had a job at Pizza Hut and paid my little part as far as rent or whatever goes, and they took care of me, man. It was a great experience, great people, and they showed me a lot of. She was, what was the name of the Seventh Day Adventist, and they took me to church camp, and oh my God, I don't. We won't get into that, but we're gonna talk about the prison thing. Like, it was an experience. It wasn't something I expected out of a church camp, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I guess you can. That things are just not as they seem, as always, until you go experience it. You
Yeah.
think you know church camp until you go check church camp out. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah. Some shit goes down at church camp.
Whole shizzle.
So what happened with like if you're with these people, you say, like, hey, these are good people, I'm hanging with good people. Like, what happened after, it seems like you got the job, you're paying some bills. What started to creep in?
Homesickness, man. Honestly, like I'd never not stayed in touch with people back home.
Uh-huh.
It was pretty regular that I talked to people, but I can't. I remember hearing something going on with my brother. Like my brother got into it as far as drug using, pain pills, and that bothered me because I felt at that point in time that I had a lot to do with that. You know what I mean? As far as my influence on my brother before I left, like I thought that he thought I was, the cool guy. That was my influence, man. I did that. I sold pain pills and was a cool guy in high school. That guy that you could call for a good time on the weekend. I was that guy, and I was his older brother, and I felt that his trouble he was getting into was directly involved with my influence, and I thought I needed to come back and make it right somehow. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Uh, I don't know. Maybe knowing now what I know, I don't think that anymore, and I probably wouldn't have wasted my time. But it seemed like a valiant effort at the time to go back and try to make a right wrong that I felt I was involved in, especially when it comes to my little brother. And it was a hard decision, man. I made good friends out there, and I cried with them when I left that time. Like I'll
Well,
never forget.
are you talking about when you chose to come back?
Yeah, when I chose to leave
No,
Phoenix to
I'm
come
talking
back.
about like what got you on the path in the first place to end up in prison? Like
Oh,
what was going on with this environment where you had the job, you had the family, you had the situation where it seemed like it was going better. Like what was going on specific at that time that started leading you to prison?
right. Yeah, sorry about that. Let me back that up. Like at that time, I was selling weed and got involved in pills, all different varieties,
Okay.
selling them in high school. I mean, whether we like to believe it or not, in high school, that was where everything was. You know what I mean? That's now I can't find anything. If I wanted to, I guarantee if I talked to a high school kid, they could find me some stuff. But that's how it was. It was just that environment. Everybody, in order for me to be the cool guy, I had to be the guy to supply all this shit. And I thought that's what I needed to do for people to be as of use. I felt, I don't know why I felt that way about myself. I felt like I needed to be that guy. I felt like I was only supposed to be that guy, good enough to be that guy. I always felt more capable, but I really, in my head at that point at time of my life, I felt, from my upbringing and whatnot, the wrong side of tracks upbringing, I felt like this was my path, man. This is who I accepted to be, was that guy. And I thought it was, I mean, it was, don't get me wrong, I had a good time. I made money. I did drugs. I got a buzz. I had sex. You know what I mean? It was a party.
Yeah.
But I always had in the back of my mind, like I wanted to be something more. You know what I mean? Something more prestigious than a fucking drug dealer from the West End of Marion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was the path I took. I just kind of accepted it and went that way. I
Okay.
felt that was it. So that's what
So
I did.
when did you start getting like what did you start getting in trouble for? Was it the drugs or was it stuff related to the drug use?
Uh Mostly the drug. Like I think my first ever run in besides underage consumption and out past curfew was I got a possession charge for weed pipe, paraphernalia. And from then it just got more and more robust as time went on. Like I got older and I got um possession and then aggravated trafficking of uh painkillers, and then possession of cocaine. Uh, I just stepped up.
So the shit was just starting to just add up over time.
Yeah, it just escalated, man. When the way I looked at it then, it was like those when it first started, the fun, the buzz, that kind of thing only lasts for so long because certain people go off and they actually like get jobs and go on with their life. But when you're that guy, you have to stay with that crowd, and that crowd is really not doing what they're supposed to. So you're in darker shadows now dealing in this shit. And then it got too deep and I started getting the trouble I was getting in. I was involved with, you know, dirtier shit, I guess, if that's what you want to say.
Yeah.
By
Hey,
that time, it,
real quick, can you move your camera down just a bit? I'm talking to like half your face.
geez, sorry about that.
You're good, man.
Got my nostrils.
No, but it's all good. So as I'm curious, like as you're getting caught for this stuff, and I know you were saying like you had kind of accepted that this was like this was the dude I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be this dude
Right.
that you know
The
this
bomb squad,
this is
man.
my character at this in this role in life. You know,
Right.
um, was there any moments as you were getting caught, like more and more over time, that you were thinking like maybe I should slow this shit down, or was it just so accepted that you were just like, man, fuck this?
Yeah, initially when I first always started like in any kind of trouble scenario, I'd always think, what can I do to make my life better? But it always came back to fuck this. Like, what can I do to get my life better? Go to college, be a doctor, or no, I'm not that guy.
You just
I
didn't see it.
never
You
felt
didn't
like,
see a path.
no, man, I didn't then. And uh, I mean, there's things I probably could have done different and maybe accepted to do that I knew would have kept me out of trouble, but it just was not my path, and everybody knew it.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem genuine. Anything I could have said I would have done then, nobody would have looked at it with any, and I knew that. That's why I always came back to fuck it. Nobody's gonna believe this of me,
Mm.
or so I thought, or so I thought, or
Right.
so I thought, my friend. That's where I was so wrong. Where I was
It
so
is so
wrong.
fucking crazy looking back at like the way we used to
Yeah.
look at shit sometimes. You're just like, whoa.
Yeah, man. And like I think we've talked before where I was, I used to hide certain things from my friends, like that I enjoyed reading or that I like poetry or certain, like my playlist goes like Bach, Beethoven to like Deftones to Pink Floyd, like it jumps.
Yeah.
And that's me. That's my everything. That's my hobbies. Like I'm not just a welder. Like I like to read poetry or I like to make custom furniture or
Yeah.
I like learning I just like learning, man. I like experiencing things. Like when I was asked the question when I was a kid, what's that they ask you in school, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like I said pirate sincerely because that was the closest thing to doing what you want, you know what I mean? Without having to give them like a lawyer or anything. Like, no, I want to do
Yeah, I
whatever the
get
fuck
this.
I want to do.
Yeah, do whatever the fuck I want to do.
Yeah, like
Oh my god.
no, none of your bullshit interests me.
You know what's
So I thought that if you couldn't do these things, that you just had to be a criminal. If you went against that, the going against meant you had to be a criminal.
uh
That's how yeah. So I'm like, I accept this path of being a criminal because it's the only other option for a guy like me. I'm not gonna be this or that. I'm gonna do so much, and I want to do so much, and nobody's gonna tell me I fucking can't.
yeah. Mm.
And I'm doing it right now. So fuck everybody.
R.
Like a pirate, bro.
um so what was it that was the final straw that landed you in prison?
I had been on some. I was already okay. Back all the way up, kinda. I was on probation for some semi heavy charge, which it was an abduction. I know, sounds crazy, bad. It's not what people think. Like even the prosecutor, judge, and everybody said if it wasn't for who this person was and didn't have a past of antagonizing shit like this, it was bullshit. I take full part in my responsibility for it. I did wrong. There's no getting out of that. But it wasn't. I'm not some evil person that snatches people and throws them in the trunk of a car.
Are you
Nothing like that. Yeah.
are you willing to get into what happened?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. I always feel like I gotta like defend myself, so start off with some bullshit backstory like that. But fuck that.
Hey,
Here it is. I
Joey
was
Diaz it, man. Joey Diaz it.
right. Fuck it. I'm with an ex who, let's just say, was a little off. She had a history of punching on her exes and like hitting them with frying pans and shit. Hit me with a chain in front of her mom. Like almost tried to kill me. Hit me with bottles and blah blah blah. Anyway, long story short, we had been split up for a few days. I had bought her some jewelry and was paying for it like through K's or some shit like that on a credit card. Well, when we split up, I'm not paying for this shit anymore. And like one night, I'm at a bar and she got a hold of me, and at bar close time, I'm looking around and my options are kind of nil. And she's on the phone like, "I'll come pick you up. Just talk to me." And she was an attractive, crazy person.
Mhm.
Accepted a ride, and I get in the car with her. First thing she brings up is the jewelry, and I'm like, "Pull over." She says no. So I grab her steering wheel and make the car pull over, and she starts punching on me. And that's where I fuck up, and I grab her aggressively around the neck, push her up against the window and tell her, "Stop or I'm gonna hurt you." And she did stop.
Mhm.
And I grabbed her hard enough. I put marks on her, bruises. I was wrong. It was a fucked up move. Super ashamed of it. I wish I could look the girl in the eye and apologize, even though it was provoked and all of that. I put my hands on this girl,
Yeah.
no matter what the situation, and I deserve everything that I had coming. I really do. But I was on probation for that. So when I got in trouble for aggravated trafficking of, like, I think it was altogether, there was two controlled buys, so which means somebody wore a wire on me for a total of 8 between the two controlled buys. And I didn't know about this until I was already sentenced to prison, like for 3
Shit, man.
months.
So they have been setting you up for a minute.
Yeah, like I thought when I first originally was sentenced to my time in prison, I thought I'd maybe only do like 18 months
Yeah.
because I didn't have a sentence longer than 5 years. So anything less than 5, you could get out in 18 months.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Hi, I'm getting out soon." And then like 3 months in, I get this indictment for aggravated trafficking. I remember laughing about it. Like, this, what? What are they? Nice try. What are they talking about? So I called my lawyer, who happened to be from Powell, Ohio. I don't know if I'm allowed to say her name. Is it okay if I don't?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure about that. But a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
woman.
I mean, I think cases are like public record. You can look the shit up, and for the
Right, like I don't give a shit. I'm not worried about
but
somebody coming and getting me in trouble
yeah,
for it now,
you
but
don't
I
need to
don't
go.
know.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
don't.
want her to sue me.
Yeah.
But, like, but I call her and she's like, "Look, you might want to take a look at this evidence before you go saying bullshit." And I'm like, "Evidence?" Which they're like, she's like, "There's audio and video of you doing exactly what they say." I'm like, "What?" But
Oh,
of course, as soon as I see the tapes, like I know
you knew. You're like, oh
who they were.
shit.
I'm like, of course, at first I'm like, "Man, fuck this. Mad at the wait till I get out. Wait till I come home."
Right.
Oh God, the
Were
world's
these
about to.
were these randoms that were just looking for drugs, or
Not
did you get
one.
introduced through somebody else?
Like I knew these people personally. One of them happened to be my mom's sister's ex fiance. Like I'd known this dude since I was a little kid. If I say his name, like a lot of people know this dude. What happened? He got in trouble for, I guess, some cocaine and decided he didn't want to go to jail. But that's
Oh
fine.
my.
That's fine. You're old and you're scared. That's cool, man. People do it all the time. I don't hate on anybody for doing it. It's just not in me. Like my people, even, for example, my grandpa, everybody knows I could have easily made it easy on myself and probably not had to do any time at all.
Yeah.
Of course, doing the things I was doing, I could have said names.
Yeah.
But why? Even though I didn't plan on like staying in that life forever, like that's just not in me, man. I want respect first and foremost. Whether it's to me, there's an honor about things. I chose to do that wrong, not
Right.
them. I got caught, not them. So what would I look like taking somebody out with me? It's just ridiculous. It's cowardly. I chose to do that. I knew what I was doing could have got me prison time.
Yeah.
I got caught.
Yeah.
So, but some people just, I mean, prison is scary. I was scared.
Yeah, let's
I'm
get it.
scared to go back.
Let's get into that. Like how long between um the charges being brought up and you actually going to prison?
Oh, um,
Because that's got to be a weird fucking feeling of like,
it
oh,
was a way, like I knew the time I was arrested for all this stuff, like it was gonna happen. I was going to prison. It was just kind of a wait in the county jail.
okay. So
Some
you were in jail during this time, during the whole time leading up to, you didn't get any time out.
Well, yeah, well, after I was on probation for the whole
Yeah.
all me being in prison and stuff, like starting my whole sentence, you mean?
Yeah, so like after like the charges that got brought up from them basically doing getting evidence against you, you spent that time in jail and then you went straight
Yeah,
in, or
I
did
was, yeah, I
okay.
was in the county
Um
waiting, had been to prison, was in prison expecting in my mind, like, this is the first time going to prison, first offense thing. It's under 5 years. I'm getting out in 18 months.
yeah.
Boom, I get indictment in the mail saying aggravated trafficking, 2 counts. I'm like, fuck you. Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Nice try. I'm going home in 18 months. Fuck you.
Yeah.
But then my lawyer's like, you might want to look at this evidence. And sure enough, brother, they had me dead to rights. Like even had me making fun of the police for letting me bond out in my brother's name. Like had that conversation on. Oh God, that's another story.
Oh,
Like I'm legit the reason people in Marion, Ohio have to get fingerprinted for even misdemeanors now. Sorry, not sorry. That's
sorry.
not something cool to be famous about, but secretly I'm kind of proud of it. Fuck them. It was.
Oh man. Okay. So you're yes. So how long before you actually went from jail to prison did you find out that it was going to be longer than what you had anticipated?
Like I said, it was maybe close to 4 months into it. Like I just started working out and getting into my, for the first like 90 days, I was pretty sick about it. Like,
Yeah.
man, this is setting in. Like I have to do this. This is my life now. I have to just hunker down and get used to the squatting and coughing thing. You know what I mean?
This is in jail or
In prison.
okay. Yeah, I'm talking about
Yeah.
like what was the process like going from jail to prison? Like you're staying and like what's the living situation like?
In the county, it's kind of open dorm type thing. Like for as soon as your cell pops in certain time, like at nighttime, you have to be in your cell at like 10:30
Mhm.
until like breakfast time in the morning. Then you're allowed out for such and such times. It varies on what jail and what rules and whatnot.
Mhm.
But you think that sucks, and that county sucks. County really, really sucks. You think, oh man, when I get to prison, this is about to. No, it's a lot cooler. You got more freedom. You get more moving around when you get to prison. It's you finally get a chance to. Initially, let me back up. I was scared, like I said, bro. I didn't know what to expect. I'd never been to prison.
Right.
And what I was really scared of was thinking, I'm only going away for this amount of time. But in my mind, I thought, I'm gonna have to fuck somebody up in here because they're gonna try to steal from me, or I don't know. I'm kind of pretty. Maybe they want to have sex with me or something. I might have to fuck somebody. You know what I mean? It was a serious thought that I had to give because I react aggressively to aggression. You know that. That's just who I am. So I thought I was going to catch a lot more time.
Okay.
But that fear left as soon. Like I said, it reminded me of high school, like the ecosystem of it.
Mm,
Um, I already kind of had a name for myself from because it was a local prison. It was a North Central I initially went to, which was like my backyard. People there knew me like from the street, so nobody really like tried to tried to like square me up on the back wall and test me. You know what I mean?
right,
Luckily, thank God, and nobody ever stole from me. I
right.
didn't have those problems, thank God. So to me, it was just like getting back in that. Like, there's other things you got to just do. Like I said, it's the law of the jungle is prison. That's how it should be. I think really, it was comfortable to me to know that all I have to do is not fuck with these people here because they're on this kind of shit and stay out of their way, and you're usually okay as long as you have a backbone and you don't owe nobody money and you don't get involved with gang shit. You're pretty okay.
That's what I was gonna ask. If you take out the gang shit, is it like the gang environment and then everybody else, or is there spillover?
There's spillover because they're not just they're people first and foremost. Just because they're affiliated with a gang doesn't mean they're not allowed to talk to any other person
Right.
unless it's like a race type thing. You're not allowed to like hang out with blacks or whatever it is,
Yeah.
whatever those laws are. But like I talked to people from all different groups and got along with pretty much all of them. Like, there's more than one white gang, there's more than one Mexican gang, there's way more than one black gang. There's just so many different variations, and I kind of, like, even on the street, like, I didn't have a clique. That's not my thing. Like, I don't click up. I just get along with everybody as long as you're halfway decent. Like, there was decent people I knew that were in the Aryan Brotherhood, which I don't agree with a lot of shit that goes on in their stuff, but there's some okay guys in there. There's some good. I met some good Crip members, some good Blood members, Gangster Disciples, like um, the MS-13 type guys. The what was it? There's a Puerto Rican gang there too. I'm trying to think. Anyway, Latin Kings. I'm sorry. There's a lot of they're just good people in all different groups. You know what I mean? So I just if you're a halfway decent person, I talk to you. It didn't matter who you were affiliated with. That's just kind of how it was.
I know you said that you were pretty well you were well enough known that people didn't fuck with you. Did you
Right.
have any tense moments personally that you pretty much had to get involved in or were forced to get involved in or
Well, yeah, kinda. Like during kind of like the ass end of my halfway in the middle of my 5 year and short month sentence. I had wound up like a friend of mine I'm not going to say his name because of what he was doing for me.
Mhm.
But it's easy to get stuff in prison if you know the right people or whatever. And a friend of mine had this tobacco thing going on and was working at the camp at the prison I was at and was bringing me in a little bit of which I didn't smoke cigarettes. I smoked weed. He brought me in a little bit of that here and there and some tobacco, and I was just doing that. So people, I mean, like I said, you're in a fishbowl. I didn't tell nobody what I was doing, but you can, if you're watching, if you know what to look for, then you'll see. So people kind of took notice, and word got around to the captain of the Aryans at this prison I was at, and their lieutenant was a guy I knew from the street, and he kind of like went out of his way to give me a warning, like, hey, this guy is talking about maybe sending somebody to kind of be there when you do the exchange and steal your shit. And nothing ever happened because I always seen this guy and he always like, what's up, buddy? And so I never really took it to heart, but I had a bad phone call when I think we had this conversation. I called my grandmother's mother had passed, and it's hard to take in. I couldn't cry for my grandma, you know. I mean, I could, but I'm not gonna do that on the phone when I'm in a room full of inmates.
Mm.
So it was a bad day for me. And then as soon as I get off the phone, like somebody's like, "Hey, dude's down in the gym saying," but I'm like, "All right, fuck it." I went and put my boots on, and they call it crashing out. What I did is I walked straight to the gym, and I'm in my mind, I'm going into the gym to jump on this dude, but he's actually walking out while I'm walking in, and we're in like this foyer area.
Mm.
And I just punch him, and we get going, slobber knocker,
Mm.
punching on him. He gets me a couple times. The COs come, mace us, break us up, take us to the hole. And since he was who he was, it got rid up as Rule 17. So they raised my security. And after being in the hole, I think under investigation for close to 6 months, I went to a higher security prison for a while over that.
What caused you to want to fight him?
I just didn't like the dude really from hearing that he was going to take from me. And I don't
Uh,
even really know if it was true. Obviously, I got to thinking about it. Like, I
right,
think I said
right.
that, like, maybe it was just an elaborate scheme for whoever was telling me he was saying this to get the kid out of the way or whatever. But
And
I
this was how you took out that emotional
yeah,
frustration that you couldn't let out, that you felt like
yeah,
you couldn't let out in front of the other inmates.
right. And prison's not the place to be emotional. Trust me.
Right.
Hindsight's 2020. I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, it sucked because maybe he never said it in the first place, and maybe I punched the kid who didn't deserve it or whatever. But whatever. I'm sure he had to have deserved it somehow or another because he got punched in the face. Fuck it.
Oh man.
But
So what
Nicole,
was there, because I've seen I know I've sent you a couple funny videos from some comedians that I've had that have done some time that have talked
right,
about
right.
some of their experiences. Was there anything there that not necessarily not necessarily that you were involved in, but that you witnessed that was like, whoa, what the fuck was that?
Yes, I mean I've seen a female CO get her face beat into unrecognizable, like hamburger meat. It was brutal, super brutal
Damn.
over something not that serious, honestly. You know what I mean? But she was new and being disrespectful to a guy who had been there for way longer than her and who was never going home. So,
Oh shit.
you know, he literally had nothing to lose. And to a guy like that who makes it to a certain level in prison, like a certain level to where they have movement and get to walk around and all that.
Yeah.
Like, say he does kill somebody, then he's just on lockdown for what, like 10 more years, and then his security drops again. It's just a change of scenery to a guy who's never going home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you don't think about that when you're new off the street, just another inmate. Like, they talk to these people, to these men, however the fuck they want, and they don't even know if the guy's here for 6 months or life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be mindful of your surroundings, man, at all times, for sure.
Yeah.
It don't mean don't talk shit to the guy who's doing life and this guy. Just be respectful.
Right. Like
You know what
my
I mean, that's the moral of it. What am I really getting at? She
yeah,
should have
like
been respectful. I'm
there's
not saying she should have got that, but goddamn.
people, yeah, definitely not justifying that.
Right.
But like the just talking about interactions in general, it's just like people are already locked up, like they're already having a shitty day. It's like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't need to go
They
out
live
of your
here.
way to be a dick. You have the
Yeah,
upper hand as a person that gets to go home at night.
right, exactly. The COs get to go home. Them people get their mail here. They live here. You know what I mean?
When man, 5 years, 5 fucking years. Um, talk to me about the roller coaster of what I can't even imagine could be like when it comes to like, man, it's not gonna be that long, or like this is gonna be forever, or like how was that for you?
It honestly, man, it kind of goes back to like what I was saying about my life prepared me to handle that. Like I've been able to handle certain amounts of chaos kind of well. Like and not kind of well. I've only been able to take my mind somewhere else to
Yeah,
like shut off to because instead of being in the moment, I can take my mind. So I used to read a lot or listen to music,
mhm,
but not being able to do that in prison, you can kind of defocus. Like I just didn't really think about it that hard because I always kind of saw myself going there,
yeah,
really, but not, but it's just I was always somewhere else, like daydreaming. I turned it positive. Like I never really got to it. Like there was days I got down. I can never go home
yeah,
when visits would come, or I'd hear bad news at home, and I can't be there for my family. That crushed me, bro. That crushes me even thinking about it now.
yeah,
You don't get that moment with them. You can't be there for them. And I was so used to being that guy for people my whole life. Like that's all I had was being that guy. The
yeah,
bomb squad. Like I jumped on it so nobody had
yeah,
to deal with it. And I'm not there. When my grandma's mom passed away, or I'm hearing my brother's involved with some shady shit, or my best friends doing things I never saw them doing, or people are dying that I love, and you're stuck, and you can't talk about it with none of these cocksuckers because they don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? They're not your buddy.
right,
So that I felt that, but like I said, I was always reading, or I had an MP3 player. I got to listen to music, fortunately, or I have a TV, or I read a lot, and then worked out. What else are you gonna do in prison besides push ups, pull ups, and dips?
yeah,
Um, but it didn't get me too bad as far as like the mental thing. I
mhm,
didn't get too down. Like plus staying moving and reading a lot, it kept me upbeat. It kept me focused on the positive. It gave me a chance to be like, I can't leave this 5-year sentence and be a fuck up anymore.
wow,
And there's no reason for it. I've always felt like I was capable of so much more than what the fuck I was involved in.
mhm,
I mean, I don't have any delusions of grandeur or think I should be some famous whatever, but I know I'm not meant to be in prison, brother. I'm not, you know what I mean? And so I read and tried to learn things or understand things better, understand myself better on why is it that I react this way to certain shit. So I read about it. Nobody's gonna give you this gold. Sometimes you just gotta fucking buckle down and figure that shit out. Read between the lines.
yeah,
I luckily have never been the type of person to just listen to anything. Thank God. Like I used to think I was broken. I really thought that was a problem, but no, 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 no. I was just in the wrong environment.
mm,
You know what I mean? Like I thought for a second when I would feel the way I felt about school. Like, dude, am I just dumb? No, it just didn't interest me. Those things didn't interest me. That learning that benefited me none. It still don't. Like a lot of that math I don't fuck with out here. You know what I mean? It doesn't make me money. So who gives a shit? Are you kidding me?
yeah,
The skills that I have, and everybody's different, you know that.
oh yeah,
But everybody knows that, so why not just let it be that? You know what I mean? Things change. Everybody knows things change. So why is our fucking academics the same as they've been and since what 18 whatever the fuck?
yeah,
Like get real. Science changes, technology changes.
yeah.
Why doesn't our learning change?
We need an overhaul. I mean,
Exactly.
we're not taught how to learn. Like
Exactly.
we're taught how to memorize shit.
Yeah,
It's
what's the
it's
Einstein fish thing? What's he say there? What something about if you judge a fish on how it climbs a tree, then it looks stupid, basically. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
compared to
I'm
like a monkey. Yeah, yeah.
the tree to me being a fish was school. Like I learned a little bit from school, but
Yeah,
when I picked up and went off and daydreamed and picked up and learned the shit that I wanted to, that has benefited me in my life.
yeah,
So that's the path I'm taking. And
yeah,
nobody's gonna tell me it's. I mean, you see the bit you've noticed because you've talked to me, and the people close to me see that it's kind of paying off me
yeah.
being that way.
Well, I mean, you're drawing from your experience, and you're personally working away from that.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, man, it's crazy looking back and seeing some of the experiences that we've gone through and understanding like how that has shaped us into who we are today.
Oh, for sure, man.
It's wild.
It
Um,
it is.
well, talk to me about like the coming up towards the end of your sentence. Like what was going through your head? What were you feeling? Yeah, what was going on?
Like as far as me seeing the finish line type thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I was prepared for it the whole time. Like I was more focused on like not stumbling when I walked out of the gate. Like I didn't really have a plan. I just kind of was ready for anything. I had to mentally be ready for anything because I could have this career path.
Mhm.
I thought mechanical engineering get into that, and that's what I did directly out of prison was went to college for mechanical engineering. But thank God my instructor told me before it was too late with my grant to back out and go across the street to this technical adult ed industrial maintenance program.
Mm.
And literally, like a month and a half before I graduated that, it was a 9-month program. I had a maintenance job. And since then, I haven't had to take a job less than $21 an hour if I didn't feel like it. And I still do what I do so everybody can suck all of my dick. You know what I mean? Really, it feels good to be able to say that because I haven't given up. I've been steadfast in it all the way, and sometimes I joke and seem like a dick about some of my decision making, like my habits and the things I still choose to do. But I can still do that because my career lets me, and that's the path I chose. So I have a daughter who's kind and generous and is only 3 years old and fucking says thank you and and is respectful to other little kids, and that's because of the reflection me and her mother make. And if anybody from the outside looking in tries to tell me that that's wrong, I will beat the fucking brakes off of you.
Why? So you can go right
Can't
back to
help it.
prison?
Exactly. I got one more felony in me.
Come
I
on,
promise.
man. You've learned your fucking lesson.
I have, but I have a daughter. Is
Yeah, that's
see?
true.
Didn't you hear me? I have a 3-year-old daughter. I'm going back to prison one day.
Oh yeah, of course. If somebody does something to your family, yeah, that's
Oh,
completely
willing. Yeah, but no, no.
There should be a
I've
get out of
never.
jail free card.
Yeah, as long as they know Daddy loves them, and
Yeah.
he did it because of that. No, yeah, I never am planning on going that route, and that's why like I haven't changed much, man. I'm still the same guy at heart, the same soul. I just put myself in a different environment.
Yeah.
If because I was the same guy around the wrong people, and it got me nothing but trouble. I'm that guy around the right people, and boom, man, my life has changed, and it's still getting better. I'm not done. I've only just started beginning to figure this shit out, man. I'm like I say all the time, I'll never know it all. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I enjoyed figuring this shit out, man, and I'm glad I'm kind of on the right path now.
Mhm.
It feels like I'm on the right path now because I'm not in handcuffs and I don't worry about handcuffs. This is weird to say that one should be proud of this accomplishment, Ryan, but in my entire adult life, like this is the first time I've never like been on probation or some kind of like sanctioned thing in my adult life, like even as a juvenile. You know what I mean? I've been on like probation since I was like 16 years old, or grounded, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things to that effect.
Dude,
Don't worry about that because I don't. do that shit that's gonna get me in handcuffs anymore.
You should absolutely, yeah, man. You have every right in the world to be proud as fuck about that, man. Like that's
For
some,
sure.
like you were saying before. I keep going back to this. Like you had this thought in your head, like, no, this is me. Like I'm the one that's gonna have the rap sheet
Yeah,
of everything, and now you're the one that doesn't have the rap sheet. To me, that's a complete
right.
fucking 180. Like
It
you,
is,
you
man.
literally
And
turn
knowing that,
turn it around.
I did. And even when I said that then, like there was a part of me that I didn't believe it. I was just so ready to just accept it because I didn't really see another way out at all. I didn't then. And the bullshit ones I made up were like just culturally biased, like what anybody would expect the avenues of someone like that to take. But those don't work for everybody. They definitely didn't work for me or weren't going to. And luckily, I bumped into somebody who believed in me more than I did and changed it.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man. Um, do you did you get judged by people like straight up to your face about this kind of stuff,
I
about your
mean,
past?
not so much. Like I feel it sometimes. Certain people, like I'm sure I haven't gotten certain opportunities. I damn sure haven't gotten certain jobs because of it.
Right.
And certain people probably won't hang out with me at the bar or whatever. But that I don't really like. I got enough friends. You know what I mean? I really do.
Yeah.
But I'd rather people not look at me in a bad light. Like I I don't want to be known at all for whatever people want to view me as negative for being a felon or whatever comes with that. But I could care less, man.
Yeah.
It's not really slowed me down. I used to let it slow me down
Yeah.
because I didn't really know where else to look. But now I have there's so many other
Mm.
opportunities and avenues I know where to go now.
That's that environment shit you're talking about, man. Like,
Exactly, man. Like it doesn't bother me that people look at me negatively from their high horse because I could give a fuck less, man. I'm doing fine over here, bud. You know what I mean?
well, that's what I'm kind of wondering, man. Like, are you? Yeah, it's because I know it's easy to well, not easy. Easy is not the word, but there when you do something or talk a certain way or you are a type of person that doesn't really fit into like the societal norm, it can feel like when you go to places you're being judged. But I was just wondering,
Yeah.
like is this a thing where you feel like it more than it's actually happening, or is it actually happening?
No, it's not really. Like I said, I don't notice it.
Okay.
I'm. It's more accepted. Like I feel accepted more than I am repelled from
Yeah.
any situation. I really like a lot of people, even people that aren't like considered my friends. I don't think don't give me a vibe like I rub them the wrong way or my story irritates them or
Yeah.
they should hide their wallet around me or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, when I interact with people, it's pleasant.
Good.
People accept me.
Good.
When I look somebody in the eye and talk to them, or they give me that chance, that space,
Yeah.
maybe from a distance, somebody might look and see my tattoos and my fucking "don't let me run your kid's mustache" and maybe feel a certain way. But I promise you, if you give me 5 minutes, man, that you know what I mean, you'll see that I'm not a bad guy. And I
Yeah.
usually, when I get to interact with people, it's usually good interaction. Usually,
Well, it's it is. I think your story is important for the simple fact that I know I was just talking about like the assumptions that we have sometimes of like what other people might think, but there is
right?
this, you know, I do wonder if people give people a pass that have done their time. Like if you go to jail, if you go to prison, you finish out your sentence. Like we've deemed as a society that you've you've done it, right? You know, you've cleared everything that we've deemed possible. So now, like,
Sure.
it shouldn't be an issue at all.
No, it shouldn't. Now, come on now. It shouldn't.
It shouldn't,
But it
is.
But it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. And luckily for me, like, I had kind of like certain, like I said, certain jobs wouldn't give me a chance, but I've
Right.
directly from prison, man, like I've steadily been climbing the ladder. Like I found work pretty much right away. Like it wasn't great money,
Yeah.
but then I graduated that class within what, a year and a half, 2 years of me being out of prison.
Yeah.
And I've been okay ever since, you know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a millionaire, but I'm comfortable. I have, everything's paid for.
Yeah.
I don't have no debt or anything.
Yeah.
And we got food in the fridge and everybody's happy. So
hey, that sounds like
to me, I'm okay. Fuck $1 million. Like my family's happy, and I don't have nobody like sending me notices. You know what I mean? There's no red ink anywhere.
Yeah.
So, but I have you feel the friction just because you hear it in society, man. That's just how everybody is supposed to view those kind of people, I guess. They say it's, oh, after they've done their time, you're supposed to, and nobody is that accepting of somebody who's just done more than a couple years in prison. They expect you to be like institutionalized or can't untrustworthy or a criminal, like violent or damaged goods. He'll never. But to me, doesn't it make sense that if I was a business owner, I'd want those guys on my crew because those are the guys that want you so bad to give them a second chance.
I've always said that drug dealers would be the best fucking salesmen in the face of the earth. Like
them dudes are slick.
They're doing this shit illegally and making money. So if you give them a
make me tired just listening to them talk. I'm like, fuck it, just shut up. I'll buy 3 here. God damn.
Oh man, but you know what? It does to me. It seems like, from a societal standpoint, that it's like, oh, you're allowed to go back in the workforce, but you have to work a certain type of job.
Yeah, I do. Listen.
And that's where, to me, it's just like, well, this is fucking stupid because, and any job that you're doing in the first place, like it's not like this is inherently good or bad. It's whatever's working for you.
You might be onto something with that. Just so happens I'm the type of person who's more hands-on. Like I'm a welder fabricator. Like that kind of work is dirty, hot, like hard work. You stay moving. Like my hands, I could probably crush a walnut with my hands. Like I got a grip like a motherfucker. My calluses, I got calluses on my fingertips.
Yeah.
Like man hands. You know what I mean? But that kind of thing interests me. But I was definitely funneled toward this kind of like labor. Like I definitely couldn't be like a financial advisor.
Yeah, that's
not happening.
It's just like, even if you do put on like a suit and a tie, get your hair cut, clean shaven, is that still going to be you?
Or a teacher. Believe it or not, that was the first thing I ever wanted to be.
Really?
I clean up well. I could probably be a decent looking Mr. Hall.
Yeah. Well,
history teacher.
Yeah, man. Like that's the thing. Like we expect to make this environment, like, can't make this environment perfect for kids. Show them people that grow out their hair and shit, that have personality, that teachers have their own like personalities too. Just show
the
kids that
there's I had were the quirky ones.
One way of approaching this shit.
Absolutely, man. You need like what did I say? There's no such thing as truth from one point of view, man. One perspective. Yeah. And I think I've always like thought that, or when I finally heard it, it clicked with me because I've always noticed that about life. Like I never just took somebody's word for like anything. Like I needed to see.
Yeah.
I needed to see. I needed to know. Yeah. I don't need your dictionary, your version. I trust your word, Ryan, and trust me, I trust my dad's word too. The cocksucker was right about almost everything he told me, But fuck him. I had to do it my own way anyway.
You're gonna
And,
touch the hot stove, aren't you?
and like, yes, dude, you've told me you've skydived. My buddy Ryan Kolb skydived. You guys have described it to me like I could see it,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been bungee jumping. I need to go skydiving. I've done certain things because I've heard somebody describe it and it sounded fucking cool. And I'm not gonna just ever have their version in my head and be like, oh well, nope, I've heard about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that shit. Everybody should do that. I think. Try it. You don't know until you know.
Yeah, like limiting thoughts, man. It's
Right.
it's a motherfucker. It's that initial like, oh, I wish I could do that, but and it's just like,
Right.
well, do you wish you could do it? Because you can try it. Like,
Yeah.
it might not look the exact way that you want, but there's ways to do a lot of shit.
I think I did get lucky to a certain extent. Like we said before, my life prepared me for the path that I wound up going on in a lot of ways. Like my dad was a super stoic kind of guy. Comes from a hillbilly background, good. I don't know why people even call hillbillies or even think of them in the net. Because when shit hits the fan, those people are going to be the only ones that are left. I guarantee it, because they just know shit that normal people don't know. They could go off. Yeah, that's why I try, and I've always kind of just hunker down and deal with shit attitude I get from my dad, and that's helped tremendously in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
To be able to be proud. Well, I'm kind of proud of the fact that I can take a punch. You know what I mean? Or I'd take yours so you don't have to deal with it. I've always been that guy. Like what did I said? I think I pretended to be a tough guy for so long that I kind of am one now.
Oh shit! Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't think I had anything else but to be a certain person for my friends. You know what I mean? So I had to be that guy, the guy that fought the bully that was picking on him.
Like it's accepting a lot of outside pain.
Yeah, man. Yeah, in a way, because I knew the feeling of being like helpless or you know what I mean, that kind of thing, being outweighed, outmatched, and nothing, no help. Yeah. So I definitely wasn't going to let my friends feel that way, even if I knew or thought that this guy was going to destroy me. I was so afraid to let him because I couldn't, because my friends needed me to be the crutch. So I'm sure there's people out there that well, after a while, like I said, I got lucky, like maybe one or two bully thwompings, and then like you get like a mystique. People kind of build a fantasy around you, like a legend.
Yeah.
So I'm sure people were nervous coming into trying to beat me up or whatever to be the guy that did that, or what, you know what I mean, for whatever reason. That 90% of the fights I got in afterwards were from people trying to make a name for themselves.
That's what I was going to ask you, man. There's this weird sort of thing where some dudes hear that there's another tough dude and they're like, oh I can't wait.
Exhausting, bro.
You're like, what?
You have no idea.
The first thing you want to do. Like, I get.
And most of the time, yeah.
Competition and testosterone and all that shit, but that is just like, come the fuck on. Like, just
man.
Like, oh, I'm just gonna show you how tough I am. Like, what are we doing?
I've had, trust me, a lot. Like I said, well, I don't want to say 90, but at least 70% of the scraps I was in at a young age were from guys that had heard that I beat so and so up and would mean mug me and say something, and then after that, by then I'm in. You know what I mean? All right, motherfucker. Okay.
Yeah.
In front of these people, dude, not in front of no, can't do that. We gotta figure this out.
You see the fucking cycle though. You know, it's just like, dude, I've taken over this role in my group of friends. This gets me a reputation of this. My reputation gets me this type of environment. this type of environment creates this hardened motherfucker,
I
and
was so
it,
tired of it.
it's just like, bro, like that's it's a cycle.
And look, dude, finally, like that, I feel like a bitch even thinking about me back then because I was kind of a coward in a way because I was afraid to admit that I'd like to read or that I was actually interested in certain things.
Yeah.
But when I finally did start, like when I made my first video or we did the podcast years ago, and then I made my first podcast and then my videos and people commented and saying it helped them. And then, you know what I mean? That I was like, what the fuck have I been doing?
Mm.
Like even the people I thought would have been like fag or pussy were the ones being like, dude, thank you. So, you know what I mean? Like they've been waiting on me to say this shit my whole life.
Mm.
And I've been waiting to say it. Like, God damn it. I don't care what I look like. Just so like I'm lucky because I'm pretty sure people are afraid to be like, man, he's a pussy now, you know what I mean? Or whatever. So they would like they would not do it or heckle me, but a lot of people did come out of went out of their way. They didn't have to message me or anything and say they didn't have to say anything. And people would like heart to heart with me about it.
Yeah.
Some dude even came to my house and like told me that it helped. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't care how soft it makes people think I am for coming out and saying how I feel about shit. If it helps anybody do better or helps anybody come out of something, fuck you. You can't whoop me. You ain't gonna stop me. That's for damn sure. I just got started. You know what I mean? I have a daughter now, so fuck anybody who's gonna try to change my influence now. This is what I'm doing.
Was that was her being born a
Oh,
kickstart into onto the new path?
quite a quite a quite a huge kickstart in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Like if I would have had a boy,
Mhm.
god damn brother, I'd probably still be half idiot. But a little girl is different to me. For some
Ah,
reason it just a little girl hits different, you know what I mean? To me.
yeah. Well, it's
She's watching me and I can't be a fucking moron
yeah.
because she'll date one and I have to break his neck and I'm getting old. I'm getting old. The deal is you can't date him until he can whoop me. So fuck, I'm 37, bro. And I don't like
Oh,
doing push-ups and pull-ups and shit anymore. So
yeah. That's funny, man. Well, it's good. You know, I feel like these paths that a lot of us can get on sometimes of just not having any idea what we're doing. Like we haven't found a responsibility yet that we want. And
no,
it sounds like you've found a responsibility that's just really filled up your heart.
big time. Like I think I was born in some ways to be her father. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? For sure.
Yeah.
The shit I've dealt with and went through and all of that is the only reason I'm doing what I'm doing for her
Mhm.
at all, I think. You know what I mean? For sure.
I think that's a
There's no
beautiful
doubt
thing,
in my
man.
mind.
Um, Before we start to round this one out, what would be your biggest takeaway from your from that time of your life, from that time of your life where you were not able to just you weren't able to be out in society and do anything?
It was a fair trade, brother.
Fair trade.
Fair trade.
Mm. Do
Because
you?
looking back, the initial pain of it, like the anger, the fuck the world, like wait till they see me when I get out. It's gonna be the
Yeah.
biggest crime spree the world's ever
Yeah.
seen. It went from that end of the spectrum to this saved my life.
Wow. Wow.
Period, man. It saved my life. No question.
Wow.
No doubt about it. If I wouldn't have had that time to sit down and read those books or get my health back to, you know, I worked out 3 times a day sometimes for years. and was more healthy than I eat 3 times a day. So, didn't I smoked weed, that was it, and drank coffee, my only vice in there. So I was doing all right and thought about a lot of stuff, man, and I was definitely on the wrong path. But what really kicked it was, like I said before, people I loved died while I was in there.
Yeah.
Very close to me, like best friends status. And I'd like to think I wouldn't have been that person that would have got involved in that shit, but I was involved in that shit, Ryan. And the only reason I wasn't anymore is because I was locked up for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I I'm here because of it. And I'm only still talking and being able to say the things I'm saying because I got in trouble and I did 5 years and some odd months in prison.
Yeah.
So saved my life, man.
Some
Fair trade.
pretty crazy, man. Pretty crazy.
It is, man.
But I'm glad you're at where you are now, man. It's
Likewise, man. I'm
happy for you.
forever grateful that our paths crossed again, man. From 7th grade to now, I never dreamed it. Never dreamed it. Right.
Oh, some crazy stuff, man. But yeah, again, thank you for doing this, for sharing,
Absolutely,
wearing
man.
your heart on your sleeve. I know you're all about running towards the fire. So
Got to, brother. Only one way I know how to be. See this mustache, don't you?
all right, then, man. Well, we're gonna get out of here, people. I hope you enjoyed it. See ya.